we'll take off the corner. We'll take off the, let's see, the mesial corner. And now we're going to narrow it up at the gum line. We'll do that same thing on this other side. Just narrowing it up at the neck a bit. So there's our first cuts from the facial view. That's about as far as we want to go from a facial view. Okay, we're now going to do a mesial view of this tooth. So, looking at the picture over here, this is the lingual side of the tooth, this is the facial side of the tooth. It's a good time to talk about a term called crest of contour. Crest of contour is the widest spot on a tooth. If I were to place two parallel lines against this tooth, the crest of contour would be the place where those two parallel lines touched. So looking at the facial side, the crest of contour is right in the bottom third. Looking at the lingual side, the crest of contour is right in the middle. So we'll be taking away just a little bit right up here at the gum line, and a little bit more here. We'll be taking a V out, corner here, and a little bit of the gum line again. So we're drawing that on our tooth. Here's our mesial side view. We'll be taking away a little bit down at the gum line, right down here, and a little bit right here. We'll be V'ing out right through the center, and we'll be rounding these two corners. So let's go ahead and start that process. So first thing I'm going to do is carve the actual gum line of the tooth. So we're going to go back to the facial side. You can measure this if you want, but it's going to be down about 8 millimeters. Was actually a little bit higher than what I'm at right now, so you can see I'm just cutting like a V shape into the gum line. And then we'll come back here and just scoop away from that V. We'll smooth our gums a little bit. We've kind of scooped out our gum line right along there. Now from our mesial view, we're going to come and put our V in the center. As I cut that V on this side, it's going to parallel the facial surface, so I'm going to tilt it in just a wee bit. So there's our V out of the midpoint. I'm going to start to round the facial surface off. Remember, I want the crest of contour to be at the bottom third, so as I'm rounding, I'm going to be rounding all the way down to about the bottom 1/3 point. I'll just reach in and round out these corners a little bit better so they're not hiding my tooth structure. So we're rounding across the facial side until we get down to the bottom third. And then on the lingual side, we're going to do the same thing. Let's come in and put our gum line in. And it'll be just a little short of 8 on the lingual side. There's our lingual gum line. And on the lingual surface, we'll be rounding away a little bit across the occlusal third and a little bit across the gingival third, leaving our crest of contour. Again, we'll round the shoulder in a little bit. Take the corners off here a little so you can see our tooth. So here you have our facial side, crest of contours at the bottom third, our lingual side, crest of contours right in the center, and a central groove going down the middle here. Okay, now we're going to move to an occlusal view. So, we started some of the initial cuts in that occlusal view, but we're going to continue the rounding here a bit. So if you look over here, we're going to be rounding this corner a bit. We'll be rounding in these other two lingual corners also a bit. I just reach down to the gum line and then lift upward occlusally. And roll the tooth back and forth in my hand. Kind of the rounded shape we're producing. Okay, at this point I'm just going to true up the gum line. I'm going to take my knife and I'm just going to trace that line all the way around at the gum line. Mostly I'm working on rounding those corners down near the gum line. Okay. You can see how we've rounded in at the corners. So here's our view now from the facial side, from a mesial view, from a lingual view, and from an occlusal view. Okay, we are to the next step, which is carving the anatomy. So here's what our tooth is looking like. Facial side, of course, lingual side, mesial side. We're going to try to transform it from here to here. The instrument I prefer to do that with is a clear discoid, which looks like this. This is the discoid side of it. There's the cleoid side of it. Anyway, we'll be primarily using the discoid side. And drawing my anatomy, I usually start by forming the pits. So we're going to be looking for the pits, the primary pits in the tooth. There'll be one right there. There's one right here. And there's one right there. So we kind of form those pits and then we work that direction. So we're going to start by forming that mesial pit. Now we'll come out and form this pit right here.